Welcome to episode 13 of the Libby Shaw Show. Today I'm going to be analysing Taylor Swift's past and present relationships. There's also going to be a surprise midway through the podcast, which you can probably already see now. So now that the introduction's out of the way, let's get straight into it with a brief rundown on Taylor Swift's recent relationship history. As we all know, she was with Joe Alwyn for 6 years before the relationship came to a permanent end in April 2023, just a short time after she'd started the Eras tour. Not long after that, she resumed her on and off again relationship with 1975 frontman Matty Healy. Swifties objected to the relationship due to Swifties opposing the relationship because of his drug use and allegedly making problematic comments. And so within a couple of months, the relationship was over and Taylor was heartbroken, which saw the birth of her best album, The Tortured Poets Department. That was, of course, until NFL Kansas Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce went on the podcast he does with his brother, New Heights, and talked about how he'd been to the Eras tour, hoping to meet Taylor, but hadn't been able to. Taylor's team, including her mum, Andrea, who is, of course, a bit of a stage mum, heard about it, and next thing you know, Taylor and Travis are dating, and now they're engaged. I've always suspected that the relationship is just a PR stunt, and I'm not alone in that. And so, here to discuss that with me today is Ash, who shares the sentiment. There's a few points we'll be discussing, starting with the references to Hollywood actress Elizabeth Taylor. Taylor Swift has always been fascinated with actress Elizabeth Taylor and first wrote a song about her for her sixth studio album, Reputation. In the first track, Ready for It, there's a line, "He can be my jailer, Burton to this Taylor." As many of us know, Elizabeth Taylor was married 8 times, including twice to Richard Burton. That orange thing, by the way, that is my cat, Squeaks, who is, of course, part of the Taylor Swift fan starter kit. Anyway, getting back on topic, throughout their lives, they had an on again, off again relationship. They made 11 films together and could never really stay away from each other. Initially, Elizabeth could not stand Richard Burton when they first worked on a movie together in 1953. But then over the years, their paths crossed again, and they ended up together. Their tumultuous relationship was heavily followed by the paparazzi, much to their annoyance. However, they also played up to it and fought in public. They first married in 1964 and were married for 10 years before divorcing in 1974, only to reunite the very next year and then divorce again in 1976. Even though they were divorced, they always remained in each other's lives because of their children. He wrote passionate letters to her, and Elizabeth Taylor said she could have seen herself marrying him again. So, how does this tie into Taylor Swift? Well, aside from sharing the same name, Taylor, Ms. Swift, has always been fascinated with Elizabeth Taylor's story and recently released a song, Elizabeth Taylor, for her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, released on the 3rd of October 2025. In the song, Taylor appears to be singing about Travis Kelce, whom she is engaged to. However, there's a few lines that are questionable. "If your letters ever said goodbye, I'd cry my eyes violet. Elizabeth Taylor, tell me for real, do you think it's forever?" This calls into question how much faith Taylor actually has in her relationship with Travis Kelce. So, here to answer that first point with me is Ash. So, what are your thoughts, Ash?
So, thanks for having me, Libby.
You're welcome.
And I believe this is the first podcast you're recording, like with
Yes.
a video.
Yes, it is.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And you're my first guest.
Wow, I am privileged to that. Yeah. So I suppose I probably should just quickly introduce myself. Yeah, you can detect the accent. My name's Ashling. I go by Ash. Moved to America 7 years ago. Been living here, and on the side, I am becoming a Taylor impressionist now, or impersonator, I should say. So I've always been a Swiftie from 2006, OG Swiftie, country heart on my roots girl, heart on my sleeve roots girl. And yeah, so perfectly honest, relationship wise, I really don't care what she does. She's a human being. I think we need to say that. Obviously, a lot of those relationships have resulted in some very good music. You've alluded to that with Tortured
Mm,
Poets, but that's also something to definitely talk about before you start talking about Life of a Showgirl. But in regards to Elizabeth Taylor, I remember when Life of a Showgirl came out, I had no idea what any of the song titles were on it. I just waited until October 3rd and listened to them. And you could instantly just go, oh, like the first impression is, yep, this is the album of her settling down. She's found her man. She's settling down. And then we get to Elizabeth Taylor. And I'm like, that's interesting that you would write a song about someone with such a checkered past with their relationships on an album that you are going like, hey, this is the life of a showgirl, ready to settle down. It's not that glamorous. And allegedly, fate of Ophelia is, apparently Travis is the one that saved her from the fate of Ophelia, which from a Shakespearean perspective doesn't make much sense, but that's a different point. But Elizabeth
mm.
Taylor was always an interesting one for me. And then the next day when I went and saw the movie, I don't know if you saw that. Did
No,
you go and
I didn't see the movie. I've
Yeah.
caught snippets of it, and I know that that was the first song she wrote for the album.
Yes. And
Elizabeth
like,
Taylor
okay,
was the first song she
correct.
wrote for the
And you
album.
can go, okay, she started writing what Life of a Showgirl on the Eras tour or towards the end of it. So okay, that's the first song. She's questioning the relationship that she potentially is going to have with Travis. Fair enough. But it doesn't seem to meet the matrix of an album where you're talking about happiness and love. And in the movie, she talks about exactly what you have alluded to. She says that she identifies with her story. Elizabeth Taylor means a lot to her. And I just remember sitting there going, that's an interesting one. Like that's an interesting take to put on an album like this. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. You can do whatever you want. Um, yeah, so that was my attitude immediately with Elizabeth Taylor when that album came out. I'm like, this is an interesting song. And I know she recently came out and she's like, oh, all the fans, just stop looking at my music in such detail and all these little Easter eggs.
Yes, that
And
Times interview that she did where she talked about her
yes,
songwriting.
correct. And and that's exactly it. Like if honestly the greatest thing could occur is you and I are barking up the wrong tree. Her and Travis have lots of 13 kids and live happily ever after in the sunset,
Oh my God,
That would
just on a
yes.
side note, just actually on
Yes.
a side note, because in Wishlist, she sings "Got the whole block looking like you." Do you think
Yes.
her obsession with the number 13 would actually go that far, where she would have 13 kids?
Well, I mean, a lot of people said with Wishlist that it was a white supremacist song. So I mean
Yeah,
she's
which is
wanting
just
to
ridiculous.
well, I think that was part of the cancellation of her with a lot of the Swiftie fans. I mean, we can talk about that a little bit longer because that sort of Swiftie fan base that probably looked at Wishlist
Mm,
and went, "This is a white supremacist MAGA call," like dog whistle. They're probably the ones who are the reason why she, you know, had the Speak Now campaign against her with
yes.
Maddie Healy.
Yes.
So, and obviously a lot of people talk about Life of Showgirl being not her best album. And I don't think it's her best, but I
It's
don't think
definitely
it's
not her
bad.
best.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
it's
it's a bad
certainly
one.
grown on me. It's
Yes,
grown on me
same.
a lot, and there are some tracks I really like. I'm probably one of the few people I love Wood.
Yes, and it was so funny when she was talking. I mean, we can talk about Wood. I mean, this is also a bit of an alarm. I remember, I mean, she even talks about that in the movie when
Mm,
she's like, it started off with the idea of being a song about, suspicions and superstition. You'd knock on wood that everything's going to be good.
exactly.
And then it became a lot of sexual innuendos. And allegedly, Travis Kelce never got that. And
Which
he
is
says he's
just
listened to the
bizarre.
album.
Like, because I mean, ignoring the fact he's a footballer and that typically
Yes.
speaking, footballers aren't as intelligent as, straight A student Taylor Swift. I saw a clip yesterday. It was from very early on when she was at Hendersonville High School. And she was straight A's and everything. And it's just, as we've talked about, like just that mismatch of you've got the nerd essentially, Taylor,
Yes.
with the jock, Travis. But you would still think that even going through the education system, you would have been educated enough to
Well,
know,
even okay,
knock
so
on
I can
wood.
probably explain a degree of that. So, a podcast with Sam Newman and Wayne Carey in Australia. He had this is probably over 2 years ago. He had Eddie Maguire's son on,
Hmm.
and Eddie Maguire's son is in the college system right now as a
Hmm.
punter for
Okay.
American football. And they were talking about this exact thing, like, oh, you've got to attend class, you've got to do this as part of the sports scholarship. And
Yeah.
I believe Joe McGuire plays, I think it's for the Ohio Buckeyes, and they're a pretty good side. They actually won the college ball a couple of years ago. And he was talking about, like, yes, you have to attend class, you have to have your grades up, but he goes, it's very generous. So you have what they call in America in college system a grade point average of 4. So
Hmm.
Taylor would probably definitely be a 4 if she went to
Oh,
college, high
easily.
3.5 above. And apparently for college students who are in the sporting program, because the colleges want their sports, apparently you only got to like average 2.3, which is nothing. Like it's just
I,
basically turn up to class.
to be fair, I think my GPA at uni was a 2.3 as well. But that included did not completes, did not sits, like that
Yeah.
included, life going on. But when I tried, like when I really tried, I was like an A student.
Yes.
So it's
And
sort of for him to consistently be a 2.3, presumably, yeah, he would have been a C student.
but even then, the Chiefs last year weren't that great. Now, Travis
No.
actually was a reasonable player on a pretty bad side, but he's certainly approaching the end of his career. And considering that the Chiefs were losing when they were expected to do very, very well last year, they
Mm.
definitely had the expectation, just like they did in the Super Bowl, they lost. Uh, there is definitely, what you call on the field where you give crap to other players. So there would certainly be opponents on the other teams that would want to sledge if, like, Kelce or any of the Chiefs make a fumble. Um, you think that would probably come up. Like, at least my girlfriend doesn't air my genitalia in a song or, something like that on the field. Or even his own teammates. Like, bro, what the hell? Or even, well, I mean, the brothers clearly got it in that
The
that
brothers,
podcast
I mean,
episode.
to be fair, Jason strikes me as smart.
Yes.
Jason definitely strikes me as smart, whereas Travis, I don't know, he's never come across as smart. And part of me wonders, is that actually what Taylor wants? Does Taylor actually want someone who's not smart? Because then, as we saw from yesterday's pictures, she can wear the pants. Like you could definitely tell that she was wearing the pants in that relationship.
And that's the funny thing. I mean, father figure is proof of that. That whole song,
Yes,
I've never bought, like, when I heard it the first time, I saw the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, it's about her masters. And then you actually read the lyrics. You don't, so sorry, Taylor, we're looking at the lyrics, but actually read the lyrics. It's like, how's that about Scooter? Like, how
exactly.
is
So
that about protecting your masters? Like, you've got lines in there about, I covered up your scandals. If you hated him, why would you cover up his scandals? I
Exactly.
taught you the tricks of the trade. It's an interesting song. So I think you could be to a degree onto something there. Be,
The line that really, really sticks out to me is this love is pure profit. Just
yes,
step into my office. I dry your tears with my sleeve. But it's just that line, this love is pure profit.
yes,
That
and
has
it's once
never
again,
sat
it's
right
on an
with,
album that's apparently meant to be about
yeah,
her finding her true love. It's
exactly.
it is curious, and that's that. I mean, I as soon as Travis Kelce came on the scene, I was like, I instantly called her. I said, I can see those guys get married, they're going to have kids, but I don't see it lasting forever after. And it was nothing to do with her songs. It was nothing to do with Life of Shogun, nothing to do with Tortured Poets, none of that. It was more the mismatch because
Yes.
you
Yeah.
see it right now. Like, okay, fine, he's a top-notch footballer. She's at the top of her game on this Eras tour, one of the biggest pop stars in the world. Believe
If
it or not,
not
they're
the
at the
biggest
same
right
level.
now.
Correct, correct. And right now, those two are on the same level.
Mm.
But as soon as he retires, he's going to be back here. And unless she's going to come down to that level, which if she
It's
did, that's
possible.
great.
It's possible. It's
Correct. She
possible.
might be planning to exit stage right, but there's a period when you have that type of concert and that amount of music that you're generating, that is your life. I don't see you exiting stage right as quickly as that. Like it still looks like you've got stuff to do. So I don't think you're going to come down to his level. Now, and to his extent, he's set for life
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Mm.
So he might be fine with that. Like I will be Mr. Swift. But then I could see her going, "You're riding on my coattails. Like you're not. You're just staying at home. You just do your podcast. You just get on my private jet. You just do all this stuff." And then there was an article in a sports magazine that talked exactly about that. Like
Yes,
generally
that
sports
was that
stars,
one that you
yes,
sent me yesterday, wasn't it?
yes, that sports stars generally, once it's over, unless they go into commentary, which I don't see Travis doing, honestly. And if he did, I don't think he would last long in it. Um,
His only real possibility is the podcast with his brother.
Correct. And maybe like a few movies and stuff. And if that's the
Yeah.
case, if he ends up in another Naked Gun reboot, then you better be careful, Taylor. Too soon. But it's just they're not. I always saw that. I was sorry. As soon as his career finishes, there will be issues in the relationship. But once again, it comes back to you're a grown human adult. You can make whatever you want. You can, but people can still have opinions of it. But
Exactly.
I'm not going to be one of those people who's going to be writing letters to you like, this is wrong. You gotta end it. You gotta end it. Because you make your own decisions. People have opinions of everyone, whether they're public or private. That's human nature. So that is my opinion and always has been. And then the longer the relationship has gone, the more questions have been raised.
And the
Like even
questions,
in yes,
there's more questions. The more image photos we see of them, I'm just like, they don't look happy.
what yeah, and certainly one does. She can play it. She's a
Yeah,
showgirl. And that's of
exactly.
course one of the reasons that a lot of people think, Life of a Showgirl is that. It's a massive play. It's like I'm playing this role for you guys. I mean, I suppose we can keep going down the Tortured Poets list, but there is songs in there that you're like, really? Like this is the album that you're so sad, you had two breakups, you still had to do this tour, and the Eras tour won't let you down, but men will. And then you have a song called But Daddy I Love Him, where she's talking about, I don't care about my reputation. I don't care. It's like that is
Exactly.
clearly something from that Speak Now campaign. And I can totally get it from a business perspective that
Oh,
you would
no,
be going,
definitely.
yeah, that you go, right, you sort of ended this 6 year relationship. Everyone, of course, go, oh, yeah, Maddie was a rebound guy or whatever you want to call
Which
it.
he might have been
He
a
might have
rebound
been
guy.
at the
He may
time,
have been.
but you go, all right, so she ends up with him. She probably always wanted him. We can talk about that, but you they were at the start of the era, so when they did start dating, the surprise songs that she did on those tours were happy songs generally. She always talked about how happy she's been. It's the happiest she's been in a very, very long time. And I'm like, well, that's a middle finger to Joe. I mean, what, 6 years? What,
Exactly.
multiple
And
years? All right, fine.
I find it so hard to believe that in her dating history, people have always speculated on her dating
Correct.
history and always had an issue with that. She's always dating. She's always dating. She breaks up and then she finds a new guy. It doesn't sit right with me that you can have a 6 year relationship, 6.5 years, and then rebound with Matty. That I understand. That I understand. I can almost understand that because of their history and because that was a short-term fling. He was never really
Yeah.
going to be the one. But to then
Nice
go
Easter egg
from
there.
those two breakups to supposedly the one being Travis.
And see, and this is where we've sort of talked about. I look at it at, because she was at the start of this tour. It was a big deal.
Yeah,
It was a huge tour, and it certainly was. Like, it was an incredible feat. I mean, right now I've got 70 minutes worth of her songs, and I mean, like, rehearsing. Like, it is chaotic, and I'm not playing the guitar. I am not doing things like it's
you're
just singing
doing
with a little
the
bit of
choreo
choreography.
and the singing.
Correct. Yeah. So it is an amazing tour, and you've planned for that for so long.
Yeah.
Then you go on this tour where, yes, the first couple of ones were mass sellouts, but it didn't become the global phenomenon that it really did until about late 2023.
Yes.
And the thing about that, really, and that's not because of like the tour, that,
Oh
oh,
no,
she's going around the world. It
it
was just
basically
basically
became
kicked off.
it became the
Correct.
Travis tour. It
Yes,
became the
and it
Travis and
did.
Taylor
And
tour.
that, I just entirely look at that like you can just have anyone with common sense and anyone in branding, particularly after the COVID period with cancellations and social media campaigns to destroy people, that if you go down this path and you're dating this person and apparently your fans are making a lot of noise and they don't like this could jeopardize the tour. So you either end it quietly and just go off into the sunset, or we use it
And
to
she used it.
boost
She
it.
used it.
Correct.
Just to your
And
earlier
then,
point
yes,
about um on the tour when she brought Travis on during I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
that's a curious one. I mean, we can talk about I Can Do It With a
Yeah.
Broken Heart, but that's a curious spot. And he's
Mm,
even said that. Like he thought he'd be in another area, and she specifically chose that spot to do
exactly.
it. That, yeah, it was an
It's very
interesting point.
questionable. And it's also questionable. So that's actually one of my notes. So what I have down here is that the obvious analysis of the performance is that Travis brought her back to life when she was
Correct.
drowning in
Hmm.
depression from her two breakups. Now, the less obvious analysis, which is what we've discussed, however, is that she's in a show and Travis bringing her out is part of the show. And so that is to say that the relationship is not real and she's just playing a character.
But even okay, so even then, I mean, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I love.
Oh,
It
I
is my
love the
motive.
song as well.
Yeah,
It's one of my
it's
favorites.
and this is what got me questioning that because I Can Do It With a Broken Heart's my motivation song to go to my real job, which I don't like. And the reason why is because like that was a career that for my entire life I wanted, and now it's burning me out. So I am effectively like at the end of Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Like I get home from my work trips, I'm dead for like a day or so before I get back. So to go to work, that is my motivational song, and it's not because someone broke my heart. So that's where I started looking down the path of, wait a minute, what if I Can Do It With Broken Heart? It's not her being broken-hearted because some guy dumped her. It's because her fans are dictating who she should date.
Yes, and as we've discussed, a lot of the fans love the fairy tale of
Yes,
the nerd getting together with the jock supposedly the most popular guy in school. Like you can just imagine in high school, he would have bullied her.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
actually would have bullied her. He and his mates would have bullied her and they would have been like, oh, Taylor, she's a bookworm.
Particularly too, like let's say he was at her high school, like that's exactly that. Like previous classmates have all come back and when Taylor's gone down the path of saying, "Oh, I was never invited to the parties," or I'd say to my
Yes,
friends, "I want to go to the mall," and they say, "No, we're busy," and then she'd see them at the mall. And I know some of her classmates have indeed come out. And they're like, "We liked her. She was really no. We're not just saying that, but we knew what she was doing. Like that's why guys didn't want to date her because." If they broke her heart, then they'd end up in a song. Like even as a teenager, like that's what she did. She was writing
yeah, see,
country music.
I might be egotistical in saying this here, but if someone ever wrote a song about me, I'd be like, thank you. I'm
Yeah,
flattered.
and see, and once again, even it would depend, I guess, on how it is. And then like that's
True.
the hilarious thing as well. Like, with Wood, it's like that's a pretty intimate reference. And he didn't get it. It's pretty obvious. Like it's probably an embarrassing song, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously it compliments him, but to have that in a song,
It's a
I
little
don't
too
know.
much information, really. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
So,
sort of the impression I also get about the dynamic between them, and we've discussed this, is it's almost like they're both amused and embarrassed by each other. Like we talked about
yes.
this a while ago with the Eras Tour doco, that when she made that phone call to him, and he just seemed so disinterested in when she said, "That's what I needed today." It's like the fans knew.
Yes.
And he didn't seem to
Yeah.
care or
I'm
or
actually
understand it.
curious though if on that call if he knew that it was being recorded. I'm curious on that
That's a
until
valid point.
because I think he may have been a little bit different. Because I mean I went to London basically when that was recorded. Like I was in London for night 3 in August,
Hmm.
which of
Was
course
that
was
the
like
night when she did Everything Has Changed? So high.
no,
Ah,
no. I missed Florida by one night.
oh,
Um,
gutted.
yeah. But what occurred, like it was 2 days prior to that, but there was that Southport attack. There was the terrorist incident in Austria.
Mm.
Like this is incredibly stressful,
And she'd just met the
period.
families. She'd met the
Yeah,
families that day as well.
correct. And you're like, you kind of need someone that's going to be like caring. And he did sound a little bit distant on the phone. And I am curious as to whether, yeah, he knew that that was being recorded at the time. I mean, he would obviously know it was recorded because he would have had to have approved a voice conversation or a phone conversation
Well,
being put on public.
this comes back to the earlier things we've said. It's a contract. They
Yeah,
undoubtedly have numerous clauses in a contract of what they can and can't say.
I
And the
agree.
way
And
she's
yes,
and the way she's talked him up for so long, she never needed to talk up Joe. She never
no,
needed to talk up Matty. She never needed to talk up Jake
I suppose the counter argument to that would be, well, this relationship's the most public one that she's had. So
because
people are
he
going to
wants the
question it.
attention.
Yeah. But even like that, the podcast before he allegedly popped the question, it just seems a little bit weird. And, the argument is, oh, he was nervous because he was about to propose. Like,
He didn't even understand the bread puns.
yeah.
Like
But
how do you spend when you're into poetry and literature and Shakespeare and everything creative? How do
yes.
you
But
how do
there's an
you spend?
element to that. Sorry to interrupt. There's an element to that I saw. Well, not just in that, but just in general. Like if I think Travis would have immense more respect if he was just basically flat out and just goes, I'm not dating her because of her music.
Mm.
I don't want to marry her 'cause she's not my type when it comes to music. There's a few songs I like, but I'm not. Now, no one's expecting him to be a Swiftie,
He doesn't have to be a
but he
Swiftie.
no, but he kind of plays that he is, but he doesn't know anything about it.
Exactly.
And that for me is the weird one. Now, if he just came out and said, I love seeing her write songs, I love the creativity that she has. It totally bemuses me. It's such a beautiful thing about her, but I still don't like the stuff that she puts out. But it's amazing what she does.
But he's never
That
he's
would
never
bang me out.
actually he's never actually once said that.
No, but I think if he did, it would add to an extent a degree of legitimacy. You'd be like, oh, well, that excuses that stuff. Why he didn't get the bread puns, or, And then there was that bit in the podcast where she's like, oh, you know what that word means. He plays this idiot, but he's not. I'm like, are you trying to change him? Like you're trying
Which,
to
which,
mold
as
him?
we talked about yesterday, it's almost like she is trying to change him, but it hasn't
Father figure,
entirely
it's
worked.
like teaching the tips of the trade. It doesn't look like he's learning them.
Like, oh my God, that's another father figure reference.
Yeah,
So, um, I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor. And then another is this love is pure profit, as we've talked about.
yeah,
Just step into my office, they'll know your name in the streets,
yes. Which they already did, but he was known as a bad boy. He was known as a proper jock.
which he showed yesterday.
Yeah, a frat boy, as they would call it.
Oh, it was so cringy.
And of course,
Seeing
for those
him,
that don't know, we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers and New York Knicks courtside seats.
yes.
It once again, like we are speculating on it, but it just seemed very off-brand yesterday. And I know a lot, and
And
like people are
just
coming
to
out and complaining about the commentators calling Taylor his girlfriend, not fiance. It's like, no, like,
well,
yep.
so we're talking about The Life of a Showgirl, the album, and we've already given some of our opinions on it. But of course, let's go into that further. So Taylor released her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, with a vision that it would be about what was going on behind the scenes. Now, a lot of fans have said on social media that the artwork doesn't match the concept, but maybe it actually does. I've been thinking about that maybe the album is about the show, which would, of course, mean that her relationship with Travis is just for show. So even though it appears as though she's singing about Travis, she's actually singing about the show being Travis. So it's almost like a show within a show. And so that would also fit with the lyric, I'm married to the hustle in the title track, of course, and Taylor bringing Travis out during the I Can Do It With a Broken Heart set of the Tortured Poets Department in the final leg of the Eras tour. And we've also talked about father figure. This love is pure profit. Some fans do think that this is her warning a younger artist in both of those songs. But what if it's not? Remember, we only see what Taylor wants us to see, and everything is planned. There was that video we shared yesterday where she wasn't on camera, and then as soon as she saw the cameras were there,
Speaking of which, the cat's the same.
yes, yes, she likes to be on camera. She's a
But that was
Zoom
just
cat.
so good. You come on, you set that up. That was choreography right there. You said as soon as the camera was on, and bang, the cat just pops up.
Exactly. So, on the life of a showgirl, the title track. I'm married to the hustle. Can she ever, I guess what I'm really saying is, can Taylor ever be happy settling down? Of course, she's built a 20-year career on the idea of settling down, but can she really be happy doing that?
I
Does
don't
she
think
actually
so.
want that underneath it all?
I honestly don't think anymore. Like, because she's a typical elder millennial like myself.
Like me
Um,
as well. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's why she resonates with a lot of people, and that's why there is a large chunk of Swifties are like, "How freaking dare you get engaged? Like you're one of us. You're the childless cat lady." And I remember when that came out, I'm like, "Have you not listened to her music? Like she's always wanted to settle down right
Mm,
off into the sunset." But after that, the Eras tour, I think that honestly went bigger than anyone ever thought it would, to
well,
be that juggernaut that
I
you would have to exactly that line. Like, oh my God, I think I'm married to the hustle. Like, I'm late 30s. I've still got a younger brother. Like, there'll still be the Swift family. But do I need that family now? I think the family is performing. And
exactly.
whether she's content with that, because there's, the large chunk of elder millennials who get to their point in life and they go, I've wasted it. I should have got married. I should have had kids. Yeah, but you don't have $2 billion sitting in your bank account. There's a
Exactly.
big
And it's
difference
just
there.
for a lot of us, it's just not practical to have kids. I mean, kids, in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think it was estimated that until the age of 18, a kid would cost about 250,000. And that was in
Yeah,
New Zealand, and that was 25 years ago. It'd be $1 million now. Plus, you've got time
absolutely.
after being 18. Now, of course, Taylor does have the money, but she's also said when asked in interviews, so does this engagement mean you're going to retire? And she said, well, that's not why people get married.
Yes.
So it's almost like she is rejecting the idea of having kids.
And I think I don't know if that's the rejection of the idea of having kids. I think it might be the rejection of settling down. And maybe that's another thing too, that she looks at that and goes, Travis ain't going to be Mr. Dad. I mean, he might be great with kids, but is he
And
really going to
she's
be my
great with
Mr. Dad?
kids.
Yeah.
She's brilliant with kids, as we saw yesterday. She's amazing with kids.
Yes.
She loves kids. But does that mean she wants her own? Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she has the money. You can do IVF, which is out of reach for a lot of people in America.
Mm.
But you, yeah, like she's stuck in this middle ground right now where that tour was such a juggernaut. Everything's going on. You've got, potentially the royal wedding of America. Um, you've got all of that stuff, and then you're going to have the expectation to have another album. And then if there's two albums out now, when are you touring? And it comes back to sort of what we were talking about before, because you go, oh, well, okay, oh, this is so wonderful. She's going to make a wonderful mom. And then, oh, well, then you're not sure. Even if you were just like popping into a regular bar and just strumming a guitar for like 2 hours and then you go home, those days ago, and there would be a large chunk of fans who would want to go to a tour. They'd want to see her again. I mean, this is why they're going to the New Heights podcast, why they go to the Chiefs games, because they want to just be there near her. And if she disappears into the sunset, she'll lose what she's probably fallen in love with more now. That,
She'll lose her empire.
yes, she'll lose the empire. She'll lose, she'd never lose her craft, but it would never be easy. It's back to the bottom, where,
And that's the
oh,
thing.
yeah,
That's the thing with, as you mentioned, you've got younger artists coming up. You've got Gen Z's, Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, Gracie
yes,
Abrams. You've got the male equivalents who are just quite frankly awful in comparison. Sorry, but Noah
yes,
Kahan, I don't understand the appeal. To me, he's boring. I can only use the
I
word
agree.
boring. Yeah, I find him boring. Ed Sheeran, once he married and had one or two kids, I think. He lost what he'd built as well. Like he certainly wasn't as big when he
Right.
did the
And Ed
Loop
is her
tour.
musical brother, so to
Yeah.
speak. So, she's probably seen that. And, she's always talked about there's differences between, women and male artists, but she talks about the difference is that it's easier for male artists.
It is.
Well, and her
They can
best
get
friend
on
Ed
stage with
Sheeran, yes,
they can get on stage
correct,
with just a guitar, and
correct,
that's
and
fine.
yes, and she's seen her best friend, and with Ed Sheeran, who's going, oh. yeah, he's not really touring anymore. He kind of does this, kind of does that. But yeah, you're right. He's settled down, and it's like, and he's the male. He's the easier one to get the show. I mean, Ed Sheeran's here in Seattle in two more months, I think. I
Is
think
it sold out?
I don't think it is, and even if it is, then the resales are pretty. They're not that bad,
Yeah, because I
compared to
I
some
went to the
people.
Loop tour. I went to the Loop tour, and his
But he's
he
only
was
doing one
good. He was.
show.
I mean, he
He
was
did
good,
two
but
shows last time.
he wasn't
So,
great.
yeah.
He wasn't great. Like his show could have easily been done in a pub.
Yeah. Let's have a look, see here.
Yes, at the
Yeah, he's only
resale.
doing one show in Seattle. Last time he did
Oh,
two. And Lumen Field is a phenomenal venue for a concert. Um, yeah, I'm just looking at resale tickets here. $140. And these are like seats that actually in Lumen Field, these are what you would call nosebleed seats, which is still pretty
hmm.
good. $144 for resale. $1,000 for floor seats right next to the stage. Like this is pretty average pricing, honestly.
That's pretty close to standard
Yeah,
market prices.
correct. So yeah, there could be that element as well. It's like, no, what do I want in this time? And
You
so
also you
yeah,
also have female artists of um, Gen X's. Probably the most comparable one would be Pink. And as soon as she had her two kids, that was
the two
pretty,
kids got political,
that was,
alienated fan
hmm
bases.
that
Yeah,
was pretty much it for her. I mean, she does still tour, but she's nowhere as big as what she was.
yeah.
Like, I can't help but think that maybe the Eras tour was Taylor's peak.
I think definitely would be, and she can always come back from it, but it's not going to be immediate. But the question
No,
is like, how quickly do you want that? Because now you're in that bracket where you've got to cater to what your audience want, even if it's not exactly the same, or wait and then you come back and like dump like almost like folklore everyone like three albums just like bang
which is what Drake
surprise everyone.
did.
Correct. And then everyone's like, oh my God, you're back. But then if being it comes back to what we're talking about, the female artist, if you are married, you've got kids, you're not going to be able to do that. So that means you either do have to officially go off into the sunset and just occasionally just pop out an album and every now and again. But I don't think any human could do that after the highs of the Eras tour.
No, no. I mean, other artists can't do it. It's possible Taylor can do it. I can't see it though. I think the Eras tour was her peak.
Yeah.
And she won't have another peak for possibly 10 years now. I
And if
mean,
that's the case, and if she wants to go down that path, go, yep, I'll settle down, have kids, get married, do all that stuff. Well, she could very easily be forgotten. Like very, very easily.
which is what we've been talking about with
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, Gracie Abrams. Even Gracie Abrams' new album, new single, it's not hitting as much.
Yes.
It's actually performed quite badly in Australia, New Zealand. From what I know, it's done poorly in the US as well. Olivia Rodrigo, she's
Mm.
performing badly. The only one who's sort of managing a little bit more is Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
And she herself, she's also riding off the coattails of the Eras tour.
Correct. And then there's that there was an article written in some music journal about like the repayments you need to do
Yes.
for boosting your career if you were not established like
Mm,
Gracie and Sabrina kind of were. Their careers took off immediately after that. Obviously you had Paramore, the Ham. People knew those people.
yeah.
They were good bands. Yep, we know about them. But then you had unknowns, which is great. But then you made a profession out of it. Maybe Father Figure is a reference to that
It
as
could
well.
be. It
It
could be.
could
That
be.
could be another part of it, maybe.
But then you come back to that line that you point out. This love is pure profit. What, the music? So is that and then her potentially telling, her understudies that, doing this love is for money. That's it. But I don't think so when you've got it for an album that's about potentially settling down in a happily ever after. It's like Elizabeth Taylor. It's a weird song
It's
or
a
in
very
that case,
weird
it's a
song
very
to put
weird
on
lyric.
there.
Yeah,
So is Opalite. The fate of Ophelia isn't. That that fits. That fits the
yes,
narrative. That absolutely fits the narrative. You saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. It
correct. But
fits.
even then, you know, yeah, okay, Maddie's a little wacky and a little crazy like Hamlet. Yeah, it does, but oh, ages since I did Shakespeare. Hamlet was actually the only Shakespearean play I actually enjoyed studying at school. But you know, wasn't there a character in Hamlet that Ophelia kind of blamed for not saving her? And because to something like along those lines, like, that's why Ophelia did drown because no one was there to save her, but someone
Who
could have.
didn't
And it
say?
wasn't Hamlet because Hamlet was the crazy guy who sort of abandoned her. Because yeah,
Are you talking about? Are you talking about Gertrude?
yes,
How
I think
Gertrude either pushed her or watched it but did nothing.
yeah. And so that kind of argument is that someone saved her heart from Ophelia or the fate of Ophelia being Gertrude. When you look at the character of Gertrude, Travis kind of doesn't sort of match that requirement. Like, I don't,
No, but
yeah.
he does fit the narrative of the song 15. You'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team. Like
Yeah.
I can't listen to 15 now because of Travis. Because
Yeah, I can believe that.
it's just of all the guys, Travis, really?
Well, I mean, you also do look at his checkered past. Like, what he's like first major girlfriend was from a reality TV show. His second one was
Yes.
because he pursued her through Instagram and liked and direct messaging. It's this, he had a jock. It's a status symbol to get certain people. And yeah, I firmly believe that he targeted Taylor for a
Definitely,
status thing.
I wholeheartedly
And
agree.
yeah, and she obviously was like, she was probably wanting to be single. Like, no, screw this. I've got the tour. I'm not going to deal with any of that. I'll just focus on myself. So she rejected him, and he was butthurt by it. But then, we see in the documentary, Andrea's sort of talking about that. And she got involved. That's where I think maybe they found a useful idiot for marketing purposes out of him.
Which is obviously, as we in the audience know,
And the
Andrea
other thing
has a
too,
background in marketing.
correct. And the documentary, what I think it was on the last night when she's no, I don't think it was Vancouver. No, it would definitely not be Vancouver because she was cheering the Chiefs. Um, that when she's practicing some of her warm-up songs or her surprise song, and
Mm.
Andrea goes, "Oh, that tells your story so well," and she goes, "They're breakup songs."
Yeah,
Like,
you're talking
like
about her
what? And
different.
then she like quickly, yeah, she like quickly, Andrea like quickly changes the. Oh no, like it's like, did you kind of just give up something there? Like, whoops. Like,
Yeah.
it was weird. Like, it kind of tells you story. They're all breakup songs, and they were talking about how happy she was, and I'm like, that's a little weird.
So, in closing off this
Hmm.
podcast, the relationship with Travis, they get married, have kids. When does the divorce happen? Do they even make it
I
down the altar? Or
I
was
know you and I were
yesterday?
jokingly talking about How I Met Your Mother. When Barney was getting married and had that extensive prenup.
Yes, in
That
season
could
eight.
that
So that
could
was
be
when he
yeah.
was going to marry Quinn.
Yes.
And they
And they
had,
were seemed like perfect for each other as well. And and then do you trust me? No. Do you no? Like there could be an element of that because like I would just look at this from any prospective partner that I would have, where you go, okay, we can't share any details about our relationship, non-disclosure agreement. Yep, that's all great. But wait a minute, you still want to write about our relationship? Like that doesn't seem fair. Like you can put things in your, even though Travis would not get it, but you can still
Mm.
put things into your songs and about our relationship, but I can't talk about it to anyone. So yeah, there could, I don't know. I've got a feeling that they probably will get married, but yeah, I think it might come down to the prenup, honestly. Like you never
Maybe
know.
that's on that. I think it's raining outside.
And they say it always rains in Seattle and you're in Sydney. They always told
Yep.
me that it always rains in Melbourne. No, it doesn't. In
It's
Melbourne, like
it's
Seattle, you wait 30 minutes and it stops raining.
it's been raining for the last few days, which is actually good for me because when I do my paid job, not what I enjoy, which is
Hmm.
this, that'll mean more work for me. The rain is actually good.
Yes, that is actually a very fair point.
Yeah, because nobody will want to be
Yes,
outside cycling. Nobody will be wanting to go to shops. So that
that's a very good point.
that works very, very well for me. But getting back to the prenup thing, maybe that's where yesterday's disinterest was coming from. Like maybe that's sort of all the speculation in the news. Like the prenup discussion in the media has certainly ramped up.
And
And
it's
maybe
not
they're
getting
both.
buried. That's the other thing too. It's not getting buried by the algorithm with
Mm,
like positive things. I mean, the Cleveland thing kind of yesterday, but I mean, anyone like ourselves, it's not because we're looking for them to break it. Like I
that's
really don't want that.
that's true.
But that was sort of coming out. But yeah, the algorithm wasn't really pushing the stories down about that as much as things like with Blake when the text messages came out, all this stuff came out about the album, the iHeartRadio Awards, you get a vote. But the prenup thing is making a lot of headway. So maybe they are in the process of negotiating that and can't
So
agree on something.
apparently, so um headlines. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce prenup could ban marriage talk. Nothing
Yeah.
romantic. Your video's gone off, by the way.
Yep. There, one sec. There we go.
Nothing
I'm back.
awesome. Nothing romantic about this. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's surprising prenup details. The least romantic part of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding preparation. What Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's rumored prenup could actually protect. It's entirely possible that Travis is feeling a little butthurt
Yeah.
by the idea that Taylor wants a prenup. Because let's be honest, Travis doesn't need a prenup. Taylor
He
does.
doesn't. And even and there was a lot of arguments where like even yes, generally prenups or divorces generally favor the wife more
Mm.
so. Generally, that doesn't occur in around the world if someone's become accustomed to a lifestyle
Yes,
that's been provided
so
in their life. So in this
so
case, she's the breadwinner.
a great example of that is actually Britney Spears and Kevin Federline.
Yes.
So she had to pay him support. From what I've read in his book, You Thought You Knew, she had to pay something like 40 grand a month, and that actually only covered his expenses. He didn't actually have, because as you say, he'd grown accustomed to that
Yes.
lifestyle.
I mean, like even this, just the private jet over to the game, private jet lifestyle. This is all things he would never have had. Um, you know, what they're apparently going to do a round the world tour of their honeymoon. Oh
Apparently,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, like all this
apparently.
stuff, like yeah. So that coming from that perspective, anyone, even if it was the roles reversed, you'd be like, no, I'd want a prenup. I want to protect my assets, and I don't want to lose half of this, particularly after she lost her masters. That
Exactly.
she
She would
felt so
never.
patched. Yeah.
I would just,
So
I would hate to think that she would be so blind as to not have a prenup that
I
protected
don't
her
think she
life's
is. I
works.
mean, she's obviously done that. what was it? It was like the 20 questions Vogue in our house like
Oh,
12
yep,
years
the
ago.
70. Yep, get a
Like
good
what advice
lawyer.
do you have? Get a good lawyer. So she knows, and her dad was a stockbroker and mother's a, marketer. So
And
yeah,
also
they would
the
know about the
interesting
legalities.
the interesting thing about that Vogue interview. So this is a Vogue interview that had 73 questions. It was shot in her house. It was during the 1989 era. So that
Yes.
was actually before she was cancelled during the Reputation era. And she was already saying then, get a good lawyer.
Yes. So she knows. So this would be the same thing as well. And you never know, maybe that's part of, well, I mean, obviously Life of Showgirl was written a long time ago, but maybe that's part of that. It's just like, well, it's never really going to happen. Like, because you would all, it's like I jokingly posted like this probably 6 months ago when there was
Mhm.
like a story about Austin Swift was like posting that he was on a dating app for, celebrities, and I jokingly like posted, I'll volunteer as tribute. But like he's in that position that, are you dating me because of my sister? Are you a Swiftie? Like he kind of
Yeah.
needs to date someone who freaking hates Taylor Swift, who hates the sister. Might like the person, but I hate her
Which
music. I
could
don't.
also,
Yeah,
that could also actually be part of why Andrea was so pro Travis because he is from another world.
yeah. But then that would also put into her situation where, well, are you using me to get ahead? Like, so of course I need a prenup. Of course I need to protect what I've done. What she had that. I'm sorry, was I being loud in the house that I bought with my money with the song that I wrote? You know,
Yes.
so yeah, she would definitely have to protect her. I don't think she'd be that naive, and her lawyers would definitely be in her ear about that.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah,
So that is everything. There is obviously a lot to unpack with Travis and Taylor's relationship, and only time will tell.
correct.
Maybe they
As we
will.
said, this is all speculation. We wish, and this is like, I know a lot of people when I voice these opinions, they're like, how dare you? Like, you don't know. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I want her to be happy. I want Travis to be happy. I want Joe to be happy. I want Maddie to be happy. I want everyone to be happy. Everyone in this world to be happy. But once again, it comes back to it doesn't mean we can't have an opinion. Just as
Exactly.
people, everyone has opinions of other people. Entirely speculation. We have a gossip session. We talk, exchange ideas. That's it. And that's effectively what we did here. But hopefully we're just barking up the wrong tree. And as we said, they have 13 kids and live happily ever after.
Exactly. They could be like David Beckham and Posh Spice, or
Yes.
like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Although I'm still waiting for Meghan and Harry to break up.
I got a feeling Harry can't. The royal family's like totally abandoned. If he was going to get involved with the royal family again, he's got to do it now while his dad's still on the throne. Because there is no way he's going to get back in the royal family when William takes over.
Did
So maybe
you
that's why he's sticking with Meghan.
did you read his book?
No, I didn't.
So
But that was very damaging to,
it was
yeah.
I liked his book. I read the whole thing. It was very scathing of William.
Yes.
Very scathing. Valid. I think a lot of it was actually valid. Like I think I think Harry never got over what happened to Princess Diana.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that was tough for both of them. That was
He was only a
iconic, the image
kid.
of those. Yeah. And the two of them walking behind the hearse. So yeah, so I get it. But yeah, if Harry wants to get back in with the Royals and be that celebrity, well, he's got to do it now. But he's not. So he probably has understood he's resigned to his fate. That because even the UK, they don't like him in the UK anymore.
No.
It's like, yeah. So he's alienated the UK. He's alienated the royal family.
All
So
he's
yeah, maybe
really
that's
got
why.
is Megan and his two kids.
And that's probably the biggest thing that keeps him there. It's the kids.
Probably. I would say so. He probably
Yeah,
doesn't want them to have a broken home like he did.
yeah. And if they did, I could see Megan using the kids as leverage in every
Oh,
single way. I mean,
definitely.
she certainly targeted Harry as much as she says that. No, I had no idea about the royal family. No, you
As
targeted
much
him.
as Travis
Yes,
targeted
targeted
Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah,
Do you think he would, just one last point before we wrap up this
Yeah.
podcast?
Eat your heart out, Joe Rogan. We clearly did well over 3 hours and no pee breaks. He usually has pee breaks in his podcast.
Really?
Well, sometimes the guests are like, can we go pee? No. Oh, well, they
Ah.
do. And then they come back. At least our
See,
comeback was when the video stopped.
I always get in a zone, and that's why this was so
Yeah.
delayed because I was like, no, I need to be in the zone to film and to just keep on going because I like to do no more than one or two takes. Like I like to
Yeah.
just keep it flowing naturally. Now I've lost my freaking train of
Oh,
thought.
yeah. Your last thought, we were talking about
Oh,
Meghan and
yes.
Harry. And that, yes.
Would Travis use the kids as leverage?
Yes. If he had to. Like if he was backed into a corner, I think he would, yes. I think she would do the same, honestly.
I
That's
mean,
usually
she'd
what occurs
definitely
with
be in,
celebrity relationships.
I mean, she'd be in a better position to
Yeah.
raise those kids. And that's not because she's a woman. It's just financially,
Yeah.
with her family, with everything, you know. But I still, the main, the main final point to wrap up on is he's not interested in her world. She's
Correct.
making an
And
effort
as
with his
as I
world.
know it's a circle back, but she's made an effort with his world, potentially for publicity, maybe a deal with the NFL. But she seems quite involved in it, maybe even legitimately. Like she understands the beauty of NFL now. But yeah, he once again he sort of has never come out and gone, no, like she's from a different world. I'm not into that. I respect what she does. But that's not why I'm dating her. That would get, yeah,
Except it is. He
correct. That's why he
literally,
targeted her.
that is
Yeah,
how their relationship started. I
correct. And
wanted to
and that's
give
why I'm
Taylor
just like,
Swift,
correct. A friendship bracelet,
yeah.
and if that's the true story, but it's like it
But then
comes
you've
back
also got
exactly
that
to
kiss
that.
marry, but then you've also got years ago that kiss marry kill thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So she was always on his radar, but it was always a conquest.
correct.
Can I get the Taylor Swift?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Um,
he's never made an effort to know her music. He's never like even with friends you're not interested in, you still make an effort to understand their work and understand what they're doing.
yeah,
And
there are the
he
like,
doesn't
oh,
seem
we've
that into
we've
it.
we've never fought. We've never fought. And it's like, oh, okay, that's cool if that's true, but how do you know you're going to be through thick and thin if you've only been through thick? You've never gone through thin. Like
That actually ties, you know what? That ties back to the How I Met Your Mother reference
yes,
with Quinn and Barney. They'd never fought until the prenup.
yeah, wow.
And
I'm
we
just,
are now going to leave you on that point. Thank you for tuning into the Libby Shaw Show with my guest, Ash, who
yes.
is a Taylor Swift impersonator. I will see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me, Libby.
No problem.
See you later.
See ya. So, we were talking about yesterday's match where they were courtside.
Yes, it just seemed very off the body language, in my opinion. As like sports stars and celebrities being courtside in NBA playoffs is very, very American. It's a massive PR stunt. And they, even if Taylor's not into basketball, because she has been courtside at basketball games before, and
Mm.
you see that she doesn't like it, she definitely put on potentially an act. But then Travis didn't seem like he wanted to be there. And it's like, but you're a sports fan. I'm pretty sure you barrack for the Cavaliers. So even though they lost, it was a close game. Like, yeah, he just seemed like way too frat boy yesterday.
And
And
that's the
if,
thing.
yeah,
Neither of them seemed like they wanted to be there, which also, I was reading yesterday that she has a deal with the NFL.
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me
I
either.
don't know if you know this, but there is a strong sort of rumor. I don't know how true this is, but apparently the record label that basically took over her masters, apparently had like links with Disney.
That
I
would
don't know
not
if they
surprise
still
me
do.
either.
So that might be all part of the play. If that is true, I don't know what the record, it was like Clover Leaf or something. It was something like that. But and I think Disney either had a part of it at some point, or they had links to it at some point in their empire. So yeah, you could very easily say. I mean, I remember there was that big conspiracy that the reason why she got political was because of that. It was like, oh,
Because
this
of the
person
deal, because she
because of the
had
deal.
to.
Like she need, yeah, they owned her masters. You play ball, or you'll never get them again. And I don't know, but unfortunately, a lot of celebrities get involved politically now, and that's
Which
fine.
they
But I think the
shouldn't.
tides,
They're
they shouldn't.
entertainers.
Correct,
And
they shouldn't. But I think the tide's turning, and she definitely keeps quiet about things like that now. But and even the endorsement of Biden, oh sorry, Kamala Harris last year,
yes,
that took forever to do. So it wasn't just as flat out as it was in 2020, or the 2018 senators race in Tennessee. So yeah, I think there could be an element of truth to that perspective. And then of course she flipped the bird and re-recorded all her albums during COVID, so she didn't need to play that game. But then she probably still wanted her masters. So Disney, if that's true, this is all
of
speculation. But
course.
if that has an element there, well then the NFL is ESPN, which is Disney. That massive amount of, I mean, the amount of Swifties who are Kansas City Chiefs now is insane. Like
Mm.
they go to Arrowhead Stadium and they got no interest in the game because they just want to potentially be in the stadium while she's there.
Which also, you know, allows a good segue into talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Taylor can never do the Super Bowl. She's too big, and it would turn into a Swiftie concert. It would turn into
correct.
a Taylor Swift concert.
Yes, and the other thing as well is there's apparently what P Diddy or what? No, not P Diddy. Kanye West's company
Mm,
operates the entertainment, so it's never going to happen. But everyone wants it to happen. It's like,
exactly.
why would you do that? Okay, yeah, once upon a time, Michael Jackson, all the top pop stars did it, but now that's not really the case. That's not what Super Bowl halftime entertainment is anymore. It's basically sort of like DEI ticking diversity boxes, not going for the superstar anymore, like it
Exactly.
used to be.
And it's to get interest, but she's too big for it. But the next song we were going to talk about is Opalite. So the third song on Taylor Swift's latest album, Opalite, does on the surface appear to be a love song for Travis Kelce. However, on further research, one can draw some conclusions that it's not all as it seems. Opalite is not a real crystal. Rather, it's man-made and an imitation of opal, which is a naturally occurring crystal. Now, some might say that the meaning of the song is that Taylor Swift decided to make her own happiness, and that is what she said when talking about the song. However, I can't help but think that on some level she knows the relationship with Travis Kelce isn't real. Why else would she write a song about him that refers to a fake crystal? It doesn't seem right to me. What about you, Ash?
This is a really deep dive. But why would you record it in England? There is a ton of shopping malls in the United States that are total ghost towns. Why is it recorded in England? Was that a security thing? Was that? I don't think so, because I mean, if you wanted to record something like 90s shopping mall, there's a ton of them in America. And security would be there, so it can't be like a secretive thing.
So, are we talking
So
about the song itself, or are we
yeah,
talking
correct.
about
Oh
the
no, no,
music
sorry,
video
the
as
music
well?
video,
Yeah, thought
being
so.
recorded in England, like that would why? That's okay, fine. She was on the Graham Norton show, there's Brendan Gleeson, made that comment. You can't fly him over to America. It was just weird that it was done in England, and I can't. So the reason I'm sort of bringing that up is you're sort of talking about, oh, is the relationship fake? Well, her two, longest relationship being with Joe. He's an English man. If she wants to be back with Maddie, he's an English fella.
Exactly.
Why were you back in England? and in the middle of football season as well.
Hmm.
It's just my 2 cents on that. I was just curious as to why you'd go all the way to England to record that. Yeah, okay, a lot of English actors and references involved with that, but they won't. I don't know. I thought that was just a little curious why you had to go to England to record that.
Yeah, it is a little bit strange. It is a little strange.
Just speculation, obviously, but I just like, yeah,
I mean,
because I mean
all of
they're
this is
yeah,
speculation. None of this is,
correct.
none
But
of this
I
is
was just
fact.
curious.
This is
Correct. I was
just,
just very curious at that because like I remember, Charlottesville in Virginia, I've been to a few times. There's a shopping mall there that is, yeah, plucked straight out of the 90s and only has like two shops still available in it. So like, because shopping malls are dying in America for
yes.
Amazon.
Yeah, there's
So
a
yeah,
lot of videos on YouTube of dead shopping
correct.
malls and,
So it's not
abandoned
like you
shopping
needed to
centers.
go like, oh, this is the perfect shopping mall. It's, because you could very easily have done that here,
I
particularly on
wonder
the
if
East
it's,
Coast.
I still
Is that a
can't
wolf
help but
whistle
think.
to potentially where her true heart lies?
Like just on just what I think of it, another thing is she's she's also well, we talk about how they're from different worlds. He's a footballer,
Hmm.
she's the nerd or English teacher and PE teacher. Um, the other thing is she's been going to a lot of his events.
Yes. And it wasn't until the iHeartRadio was before
Yeah,
he went to one of hers.
yeah,
And even then, like I was so fascinated by the Swifty thing. So obviously, my socials being the Taylor impressions,
mm,
I get a lot of the algorithm with stuff like that. So I see this push by whatever you want to call it, her AI bot to PR department and stuff like that. And oh, everyone was freaking out because she's going to the iHeartRadio Awards. It's like, yeah, because that's a popularity contest. Like you had a massive social media campaign to get that album voted in. She's definitely going to win one of them. But the industry doesn't like her. So of course that's why she didn't go to the Grammys. It's of course why she doesn't do it. She's not favored by the industry. She's favored by her fans.
yeah. And she's also not going to the AMAs this week either. I
Yes.
mean, she's sure to win a bunch of awards at the AMAs, but she's not going.
Yeah, it's and if she was, would he be going? Because it seemed like there was a public push for him to go to that, their
Mm.
first. But even then, oh my goodness, it could be their first red carpet debut. He didn't. He went through the back door. He didn't walk the red carpet with her.
Which is also interesting and very strange. Like it's sort of
See, once again,
what
if he's a
exactly?
recluse, why wouldn't you be upfront about that? Like, this is her world. I'm here to support her, but I don't want to be there with all the flashing cameras. Let her have her moment.
Which
That would be the impression that
also,
I would get from a relationship where you're like, if you are from two different worlds, and you're like, no, I'm a little bit of a recluse. Like, let her do the red carpet. I'll see you in the theater.
I think it's, and there's a lyric that I'm after, which I'm just trying to find because this actually, um, it is actually, I think it's in, actually, yes, it comes back to Elizabeth Taylor lyrics. And the lyric is, it's either that or opalite. Just bringing it
What were you
up.
thinking of in regards to that lyric?
It's the lyric, but you bloom,
Oh, yes, yeah.
but you bloom minus AI, but you bloom.
Under bright lights, they withered away, but you bloom. Elizabeth
Uh,
Taylor.
uh, so yeah, I thought so. Like
Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor is, as we keep on saying, Elizabeth Taylor is such a really telling sign. Um, yeah, all the right guys promised they'd stay under bright lights, they withered away, but you bloom. But is
Yes,
he really blooming if he's avoiding the red carpets with her?
I think he is. I mean, his worth's gone through the roof. He's like, so there's he's doing like a live podcast in Los Angeles. The amount of Swifties who have bought tickets to this theater to go see it. I mean, obviously they're hoping that she potentially rocks up as a
Which she
surprise guest.
won't. Which she won't.
Where? But even if
She's done the
she
show with
did,
him.
it's like, yeah, but even if she did, it'd be like, it's just insane that this is a sports podcast. Like people that generally watch New Heights, yes, there is the Swifties, but the people that probably want to go to the live shows, and I mean, I had an ex, who did these things. I mean, brought not Kanye West, brought what's it, Dennis Rodman to Australia
Mhm.
and stuff like that. When you bring things like that, you have like VIP meet and greet packages and all that stuff to, in this case, probably meet the Kelce brothers, and you'd be like, why is Swifties massively wanting to go besides that? And I think more so the fans that are there for the Kelce brothers, who are the sports guys. Yeah, okay, fine. You're dating Taylor Swift, but this is not what we're wanting to come to this event for. And there's going to be potentially a bunch of Swifties there that have been desperate for
Exactly.
tickets to it. So he's definitely making money off it. He and his family are doing phenomenally well out of this deal. So it could be that. He
It
doesn't
could
need to
be.
be on the red carpet. He doesn't need to do that. He's just getting it via association.
Which means he is, as we've said, riding off her coattails.
Yes.
And he's just, I mean, he's scored, I think it was yesterday I read, he's scored it was either Netflix or Spotify. It was something really big. He's scored some big deal worth
Okay.
millions. So it is Google time. Okay. Travis Kelce signed Netflix deal. Okay. So, okay, yes. So, Travis Kelce has officially signed a $10 million deal with Netflix for a seven-episode limited series
Yep.
chronicling his extraordinary career and
Mm.
relationship with Taylor Swift, of course.
That would have to feature heavily in it. I mean, Netflix would demand that. But then again, that could be also an issue because, as far as I know, she is actually contracted to Disney for certain things like this.
Which kind of, she's with Disney and he's with Netflix. They're competitors,
Mm.
which is also curious.
That's an interesting one. I did not know about that. But
About the
even
$10
then,
million dollar deal.
But
Yeah.
even then, that's pretty low.
10 million.
Yeah, considering what he made to sign up with the Chiefs again. Like that's basically just like 1 year or
And
close to a year of his salary for the Chiefs for the next 3 years.
and
Now we can
also
talk about that. Apparently, that's a dodgy deal that a lot of sports
Netflix.
guys are like, no, he ain't playing 3 years. That's like a 1 year deal.
No. Yeah, it's a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Kyle and Jackie O, how they signed a 10-year deal in Australia and then,
Yes. I
they
am
had that
familiar with
big
that issue.
on-air
Yes.
fight and it erupted and that was their get out clause after
Could
one
that be?
year.
Is that potentially that yesterday's game in Cleveland was their get out of jail clause?
Time will tell.
Yeah.
I mean, the other interesting thing while we're talking about streaming deals and another relationship that I've always perceived as fake, as I've mentioned as well, is Harry and Meghan. Now
Yes.
they got $60 million for their deal with Netflix. And
Then again, you never know. Well, I mean, I've always had Harry and Meghan vibes with Travis and Taylor.
yes,
Maybe
same,
Netflix has learnt their faults because I mean, certainly with Harry and Meghan, they were hoping to get dirt on the royal family,
which they didn't, of
and
course.
they didn't. I mean, they got little bits, I believe, because a lot of people in England are like the reason why Harry and Meghan weren't sort of allowed to go if they are in England, why they're not allowed to go to the royal family is because they can't trust them not to have recording devices on them.
Which is understandable. But I mean,
Yeah.
the other thing is I also wonder, are Travis's family under any deals as well, like any confidentiality
Well, I mean,
deals?
Donna Kelsey's got a huge amount of money out of this. Like, she's a
Yeah.
very popular woman. I mean, Kylie Kelsey was always pretty popular, because of Jason. But yeah, no one really knew the family. They just knew Jason and Travis. They had a podcast, and you kind of knew the parents and the wife, or the wags. But they've definitely made money out of it. And once again, it's father figure. Like, I've taught you the tricks of the trade.
This love is pure profit.
Yeah,
Why
it's
would
a
you,
mutual
on
agreement.
your supposed album that is about settling down, why would you have a lyric, "This love is pure profit"?
Yes, it's exactly like the feeling of having Elizabeth Taylor, or I think we'd potentially talk about Broken Heart next, but Broken Heart. This is with Travis being on the stage with that. Wait, but if your reference is that you were brought back to life to perform, basically like the life of a showgirl, you've
Mm.
got to keep doing the show.
And
And
the
he's the one that
relationship
brought you
is the
back to
show.
life. Yeah, but yeah, exactly, the relationship is the show, because then why would you'd think it would be a happy song, or
Exactly.
immediately after, or like you go from Bejeweled into Karma, because the Karma's like guy on the screen coming straight home to me, like
Whereas
something
now
along
it's
those
Karma
lines,
is the guy on the
which she's only ever done once, I believe.
twice.
But
I think she did
yeah,
it in, I think she did it in Sydney Night One.
and I think she did it in Indianapolis when he was there. So I think she's
Yeah.
only done a couple of times. But I mean, I did Karma, and I said Karma is the Seahawks bringing it home to us because it was a week before the Super Bowl, which happened. Yay! But the whole premise there is like that would have been more sense, because then you'd be like, no, like okay, Karma was written ages ago, but no, I've got my good karma now. Like I've got all the assholes out of my system, and now I've got this guy. You think it's just to say you're being brought back to life to perform the show, and this is apparently the guy that did it, but then the song's immediately about you having a broken heart and putting on a show,
Exactly. And
is very weird placing.
speaking of placing, Tortured Poets Department, So High School is in the
Yes,
middle, it's in the middle of the album. So you have The Alchemy, I believe track 14, and
yeah,
then
it is towards the end.
yeah, and then you have So High School, which is a few tracks later, but it's in the middle of the album. It's not
Mm.
at the end. You would think that if that relationship is forever, that would be at the end, but instead the manuscript is the end on the Tortured Poets Department.
And
But the
also, a
story isn't
manuscript is
mine
like a
anymore.
contract as well. It's like, yeah, this is the agreement. Read the manuscript, read the terms and conditions. That's an
Yeah.
interesting title to have at the end of that album, when you're talking about, yeah, how heartbroken you are. But then you could, I don't know, maybe that's part of the placement, because effectively the album was meant to be, about her brokenhearted, the whole thing. So, she wanted that to be potentially the entire mood of the album. So that's why you probably put like a positive song in the middle. So then
Maybe.
it comes back to being sad. But I also think it would make a lot more sense in your case, where you're like, you have this whole album of sadness, and then, isn't that not like, yeah, there's
Yeah,
hope.
so with Red, I believe that the album ended with Begin Again.
Yeah. Yes, I think you're
I
absolutely right.
believe I am going to double check that. Um, okay. Wikipedia. Hey, Red. And this is, of course, the standard, the
Yeah.
2012 edition. We're not talking about Red Taylor's version, which did, of course, end with All Too Well 10-minute version from the vault.
Looks like the original one was Begin Again was last.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was right. Yeah. And so
Yes.
that's a really good segue into the next album. of course, being the happy album,
Hmm.
what was supposed to be the happy album, but didn't end up being the happy album. Well, I mean, sort of 1989, but it was more like a reset. But The Life of a Showgirl doesn't strike me as this is forever. It strikes me
Yes.
as a this is the honeymoon phase, really, album.
Yeah. Or coming back to what I sort of said earlier, like, who knows? Maybe it started off as a business relationship and then they went, oh my goodness, we actually do work well together. Let's keep going. That's a possibility.
It's a
But
huge
then,
possibility. I mean, that does happen
yes,
in American movies.
correct.
Those teen
And
flicks we've talked about where, you have the jock who, is paid $50 or whatever.
yes, 10 things I
10
hate
Things I
about
Hate
you.
About You is a
Yes,
great example of that, where, Patrick was paid $50 in 1999
yes.
to
And that kept
take
going
out
up. I think it got to about 400 at one point to
yeah,
take
and
Julie
then he
Stiles to the
caught he
prom.
caught
Yes.
feelings, and then they ended up. But the thing is, they weren't that different from each other. She was edgy,
No.
and Patrick was quite edgy as well, and they were sort of the outcasts. Whereas
Yes.
Taylor's the brain box, Travis is a jock. How are they possibly going to raise kids together with that sort of intellectual difference?
Well, see, the other thing too, like, sort of bringing that up, like if they did fall together, then potentially maybe that's life for show. It's just like this is working for me now. Whatever happens, happens. Maybe deep down she knows that it's not going to be forever, and she's just enjoying the ride. That could be a
Maybe.
possible. Maybe she just accepts that. Um, yeah. I mean, suppose that's a possibility.
She might also be enjoying the fact that the fans are off her back.
Yes,
I mean,
out of
excluding
doubt. I mean
excluding the
that.
skeptics like us.
Yes, which is very few and far between. But
Yes.
no, you're absolutely right. That definitely did. It got the fans off the back, as you exactly said.
Mm.
And it met everything that she'd written about the fairy tale. You belong with me. It met the American Miss Americana. It met everything for an image that was needed at the time.
Which is everything to her. I mean, you can't be
Yes,
a billionaire musician and not care about your image.
yes. And as we sort of coming back to what we sort of talked about, and sort of circling back, I guess,
Mm.
but that whole premise of, yeah, you just started this tour and you're starting to date someone who's problematic. Even if you're happy, this could destroy your tour.
Which it
The
would,
image, we got to
because I
fix it.
mean,
Yeah,
Maddie Healy, allegedly racist, allegedly
yeah.
a drug addict, drug issues.
Which
But
it seems, when she writes a lot of those songs that were written in that period, seems like that's the type of person she kind of is attracted to. It's people that she can change and help, and has a tortured soul just like her. Travis Kelce sadly will probably have a tortured brain with concussion injuries later on in
yeah,
life, but
as
he
you've
doesn't have a
talked about
tortured
as
soul.
well.
Yeah. So, I mean, a tight end position usually don't get many head knocks, but it does happen.
Has he
So,
had any that you know of in his career?
I mean, what? He's probably been playing ever since he was a kid. It would certainly be possible. Um, but usually it's, the Patrick Mahomes quarterback positions that usually are the ones that always get the really bad um, CTE, as they call it. I cannot pronounce the disease, but yeah, the concussion traumatic endocropathy or whatever they call it. Yeah, but a lot of NFL players do fall victim to it at some point because they've taken a lot of head knocks constantly. And although the profession has changed a lot, that they're a lot more aware of these things, there's still going to be an element of it. I mean,
And
yeah,
coming back to an earlier discussion point when he's retired. Obviously, Joe Alwyn, being an actor, of course, he's, going to be between acting roles. That's the nature
yes.
of the industry, and he's going to be at home the rest of the time, writing or auditioning or whatever else.
But and everyone, I love the fact that people are kind of canceling the fact that he apparently didn't write music with her,
He
and
did,
she's
though.
admitted it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he
But a
did.
lot of people are like there is no way Joe wrote Path of Exile with her. It's like she freaking
He
said
did
it.
though. He did though.
Exactly. So they were, the artistic back and forth.
And
So
that's sort of what I'm getting at. How did
yeah,
she can't exactly bounce off Travis because he just doesn't understand.
correct.
And and there's also been discussion online about how Taylor used Joe's mental illness against him in songs. I want all your blue days
Yes.
and other references. But when Travis is retired, he's going to be at home gaming.
Correct. I know
And
he's made a few like movie roles lately, little cameos and that, but that's not and unless when you if unless he's to potentially go down coaching or he gets a job as a commentator, most sports people do disappear into the
yeah,
ether. They're quiet. They enjoy the fruits of their labor that they've done for decades and the sacrifices they've done. That's another reason why you see like a lot of, particularly in Australia, Australian rules footballers, they get so fat when they
yes.
retire because they're not in that discipline. They're like, I did that for 30 years. I'm done. I'll get the dad bod. I don't care anymore.
Well,
I
I
don't need to
mean,
do that.
Shane Warner's a cricketer, is a
Yes.
great or was a great example of that. He went into commentating. So
Yeah.
it's entirely possible that that is the line that Travis will go down, but I just can't see it happening. I
Oh,
can't
here we go.
see him I can't
Yeah.
see him doing more than the podcast with Jason and maybe the odd Netflix deal here or there. But people aren't going to be interested in him.
No. And it once again, Mr. Swift. And the Swifties will be there. But I don't know if they'll be totally there the longer that goes on.
No, they won't be because, with TikTok culture, they'll eventually tire of it.
And the other thing as well is, the longer that she would take, even if she did, exit stage right, still wrote some albums and put them out, didn't necessarily tour. You know, did that exact thing, had kids, got married, living a quiet life, sending out music, and then, just rocking up to, Broadway or Nashville one surprise night and surprising her. Those days are gone, regardless
Mm.
of whether she is going to still be at the top of her game. But if she was to do that, that's fine. But I don't. I think there would be a large chunk of fans who would forget about it very quickly. They'd still appreciate the music that she's written and what she puts out, but they're like, she's never touring again. They move on to that. Let's go to Sabrina Carpenter. Let's go to Gracie Abrams. They'll move on.
And
That's what this
and
industry
on
is.
that, I can't see Taylor touring again for at least a few years.
Correct. And I think honestly she
Earliest,
has changed the game. I think she's changed the game for the music industry in general, that you just
yeah,
go, no, don't write an album, then tour for a year and with that one album and 12 or 15 songs and then a
exactly.
few extra. Put out a couple of albums and then do them all together.
Yeah,
Even you don't necessarily have to do a 3 hour show, but you can certainly do, two albums over two and a half, which a lot of people do. Like you go and see Paul McCartney, you go see the Rolling Stones, you're seeing it, they go for 2.5 hours, playing their
exactly.
hits. So you could very easily do that if you're a new musician. Just like put out a couple of albums and then go, right, here's the tour off those albums. They're all in one. But if she wants to potentially think of doing that, then that's all well and good. But that's not going to be for quite some time.
No,
And
because
then
she'll
also, if
want
she
to.
is to get married and have kids, that's going to delay that further. So she's probably not touring for a very long time. And you can see that in the sort of the Swiftie community online. A lot of people are like, is this like, when you see like they repost her doing a song or something like that,
Mm,
like, is this the last time we're ever going to see her on tour? Like, or ever hear this live? Like,
yeah,
is the last time we're ever going to hear You Belong With Me? Is this the last time we're ever going to hear Love Story?
I think
They're always starting to think like that.
I think she'll always do love story, you
Yeah.
belong with me, all too well 10-minute version, shake it off. I think they're probably the only four that will be in future tours. The rest,
Yeah,
it's who knows? I think there's sort of,
correct.
yeah, as you say, there's almost like pre-Eras tours, and then there's post-era tours. And how does she up herself from the Eras tour? Does she need to make another 10 albums before she does another tour?
I don't think it'd have to be down to that extent, but she's definitely raised the bar through the roof. And that's why, like, even if Life of a Showgirl was the greatest album ever, it wouldn't have been in the view because she raised the bar so high that whatever
Exactly.
you do next is going to be hard to jump and hard to top. So, yeah, I know that's sometimes the argument where they say that with Life. That's why she probably just threw it out quickly. She was on tour, wasn't thinking it's going to be a tough, tall order to meet something like Tortured Poets. So just put something out quickly.
Which also
Yeah.
comes back to an earlier point we made that, various things are for the fans and not the industry, and that the industry hates her. Tortured
Yeah.
Poets for the fans, loved
Yes.
by the fans. Life of a Showgirl, loved by the industry, hated by the
Hated.
fans.
Yes.
Hated by the fans. Like, I mean, of course, we do listen to it because we're Swifties. We're always
Yes.
going to listen to her music. But at the same time, it's not her best work. But if it was another artist, say it was Sabrina Carpenter or Gracie Abrams or Olivia Rodrigo, that would be their best work.
Yes.
Whereas
Which
for
speaks
her,
to her talent to an extent that she can just very quickly put something out very quickly.
and that also comes to the
Before you
other.
do that, I think we're coming up to our hour. So why don't you hold that thought and then give me a call back
Yeah,
and then we'll
okay, I
start
will.
again.
Yeah, oh, good. I will call you back.